So recently, I've been talking to someone on Instagram about them quitting their job to become a full-time trading card seller. I want to be like you, Steve. I want to be like you. Don't even. That it's. Let's talk about it. Right? I couldn't really explain in words. I'm being like, pros, cons, everything, going into the things, steps you can take. I don't really feel, not only not just not that comfortable like through text message doing something like that. I want it to feel a little bit more personal and actually give like a full-on overview. So this is for you, buddy. And if anyone else out there learns from this, hey, good for you. So you want to quit your job, become a full-time trading card seller. It's probably one of the worst things you'll ever do. Um, it's that you need like a perfect mix of like something amazing to happen for it to happen. And I'm gonna go through my experiences, my work life, everything that happens before I kind of became full-time card seller, all this other stuff. So let's dial ourselves back into 2010 when I was just a little bit less little Steve. I think I was like nine. No, I would have been like 20. Wait, 2010's 10 years ago? No, shit, it's 13 years ago. Okay, it would have been 18. Oh my. 2010 is 13 years ago, man. What? All right, 2010, 13 years ago. I was 17. I was working my first job for about a year and a half now. I used to work at a supermarket, and I love that job, actually. That's a really good job. I really enjoyed it. And then I worked all the way up until 16, 17, 2018. And I think I would have been around 24, 24, 25. And then I started selling Pokemon cards online pretty seriously around 2015, but I was selling other things 2013, 2014, GameCubes, Nintendo 64s, all that kind of stuff, and Super Nintendo. It's not important. But 2017, 2018, in my Pokemon card selling, I was selling around $1,500 a week. And, that's quite a lot. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but $1,500 a week, especially in 17, that's a shitload of money. That was really good. And I was feeling on top of the world. In my job, I was getting paid around $900 a week. So I always felt like a little bit more superior because I was all like, yeah, I'm getting paid more on my cards. It's not like gross profit, right? Like you're taking in 1,500, but in the back of your mind, you're like 1,500 a week. That's that money. But I thought I was ready. I thought I had a little bit of money left. No, not a little bit of money. Like I had a little bit of money in my bank. Had around like $5,000 to $10,000 at the time. Had enough inventory. I was selling. I was finding deals here and there. I was pretty excited, pretty happy, and I was happy-go-lucky. Let me say, my life was not set up. My life was like not ready for someone who was running a business, I guess, from home, running a full-time card sellership. I was not mentally ready. I was not emotionally ready. I was not monetarily ready, and we'll get into that. All the other things, I just wasn't ready. And I'll explain to you what happened. Pretty much over the next 6 months, not only did I completely run out of money, went into some, not hefty credit card debt, but like, I got loans, I got credit cards to try and keep up with the buying. Because the moment that salary stops coming in, you want to keep buying the same rate as you used to, but you couldn't. So I got some credit cards. I got some PayPal loans. Nothing too egregious. I think I've racked up like $10,000, and eventually I paid it off with the stuff. But that's not too important. Nothing bad happened. But over the next 6 months, I went from building. I was going like this every few months. I was getting better and better and better. After 6 months, I was down bad. I mean, I wasn't doing terribly, but I was doing much worse than I was the 6 months prior. And I was like, damn, this sucks. So, late 2017, 2018, I went back to work. I worked for around 4 months. I got all my bills in order, paid off all my debts, my PayPal loans, my credit cards here and there. Sold a lot of things, reduced a lot of my expenses, got some roommates instead of living by myself. All these other things. I fixed all my expenses, everything, went back to work. And then I was like, oh, after like 4 or 5 months in this job, and I think me and Kimberly kind of moved in together after that, and it got a little bit better. And I was like, I don't really need to work anymore. The card stuff's still going pretty well. I was doing like 2,000 a week then, 2,200, 2,500 some weeks. I was doing pretty well. I was super happy. And then I quit again. And you won't be surprised to know that pretty much the same thing happened again. And it was pretty abysmal. But through a lot of grinding, hard work, effort, scraping by, buying lots of 2-minute noodles, we kind of made it to where we are now. We got really lucky. COVID happened and the price spikes and the free money and everything crazy. Last 3 years have been absolutely nuts. I've picked up deals that I never would have thought even possible. I have made some sales the numbers that I didn't even think would be real 5 years ago. And that's not too important because, a lot of my, I do a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. I'm not lazy. I'm not like, what's the time right now? I don't know. What the fuck? What's 1:40 in the morning. 1:40 a.m. I'm recording this video, trying to help someone out across the road, across the world with a question on Instagram. I'm crazy, but I really love this YouTube channel and I want to give back and I want to help out where I can. Let's get into this pros and cons list. So yeah, a lot of luck gets into it when you quit your job, but I've written all this. On the backside, we've got heaps more stuff, steps you can take towards not making the same mistakes I did and things I think that would be beneficial. Remember, this is all my own experience. I'm not a real person. This is not real. And if there's any financial stuff in this, don't worry about me. So let's think about pros. Pros when you want to quit your job. As soon as you quit the job, you got more time, right? 40 hours a week goes into doing nothing, right? So you got 40 hours a week extra. Short term, better health. Your mental health is like really good because you're not working anymore. You wouldn't quit a job that was good, right? So you're only usually quitting your job because it sucks. And then you got better physical health as well, because maybe you're doing like a back-breaking job. You're picking up a lot of stuff all the time, and you're always doing this, and your arms are always sore, and your back's always sore. I completely understand. I worked at a supermarket. I did bending stuff like this. I would pick up pallets. I would pick up 40-kilogram crates all the time. I would do a lot of stupid stuff just to get work done fast because I was an idiot. And then the last pro, as you can see here, all these are cons. All this stuff's cons. That's the last pro. You get kind of freedom. And when I say freedom, kind of, it's like when you're working 40 hours a week, whatever you're working, 10, 20 hours a week, you structure your whole week around like you're working. Because, you're working, you have to do those things. So the time that you have not spent working is so much more precious than to someone who's practically not working a normal job, normal routine. They have to wake up and do all their own things. So this is the same thing happened with me. When I was working 40, 50 hours a week, in my home time, I would grind out 4, 5, 6 hours of good work every day. I would do my card stuff 6, 7 on my days off, my weekends. Whenever I get a day off here and there, it would be like 10, 12 hours because that was my day off to grind. That was like my day to like achieve stuff. But the problem is when you quit your job, you don't have that anymore. You have the whole 24 hours to do whatever you want. And yeah, I'm still suffering this to this day. I still have a lot to do every day. Some days, I wake out of bed a few hours later than I wanted to. Go to bed a few hours earlier than maybe I wanted to. Maybe I stay up, but instead of working or instead of doing something, I kind of just zone out and just sit there for a while. I mean, it still happens. You have to build, like no one's telling you what to do. It's you every step of the way. Every task I do. If I want to drink out of this cup, I got to drink out of this cup. No one else is going to help me. That's good shit. Thanks, Kim. Love you. Kim made me the drink, so don't worry about it. All right. You got to do everything, and it really sucks. Doing absolutely everything really sucks, trust me. But gets better once you get better at it. Let's talk about the cons. No paycheck. Pretty self-explanatory. No one's giving you money for your time. Your money has to come from inventory, which you have to use money on, and then you have to spend your time on selling the inventory, kind of stuff like that. And it gets really bad, but you don't get that guaranteed. Because, you wake. I had a day yesterday. I didn't sell any graded cards yesterday. How do you think that makes me feel? How do you think that makes me feel as someone who has maybe 4,000 or 5,000 graded cards listed for sale? I didn't sell one card yesterday. It does happen. Imagine not having a guarantee of a next sale, a next amount of money coming in. It is pretty much one of the worst feelings of all time. No interaction. There are, when Kimberly was working, there are weeks where I would go to the post office, but that's it. That's the only interaction I would have. If you don't have a lot of like in real life close friends that maybe you would visit. We used to live pretty far away from the city and stuff like that, so we had no one around and there was no interaction. And I'm fine with that personally because I'm kind of a keep to myself kind of guy in person. That's fine, but like there is no interaction for people that run these things. You can go out and do stuff, but every time you do stuff, you're going to feel bad because you're not at home doing stuff for yourself. More stress. Yeah, definitely. Running your own thing. It's way more stressful than just turning up and doing work for someone else, right? Pretty obvious. You're trading your inventory for goods. And this is a really long one. I'm going to come back to this one and finish everything else, and then I'll come back to that. Emotional investment. That's really bad. I mean, it's hard to explain, but like something bad happens. You get a neutral feedback. You get a negative feedback. It feels so much worse because it's so much more personal. It's your only thing. Sure, that stuff still sucks when you're like doing this part-time and you're working, but like you get scammed. You get a charge back. You get like a return. I got 3 returns yesterday. I sold nothing and I had 3 returns. How do you think? I sold 3 Pokeball reverse holo PSA 10s, and the 3 buyers opened a return case because it wasn't the Master Ball Pokeball card or the Master Ball reverse holo like they thought it was. I did nothing wrong. I did everything right in the whole situation, and I'm still destroyed. Yes, it pisses me off. No, I don't let it get to me. It makes me stop working. There are previous times where stuff's happened and I've just gone to the bed and just done this and just wailed into the pillow. It's fine. It's perfectly normal to do that stuff, and you learn to deal with it over time. But like, it still sucks. You lose love for your hobby. Most of the people doing this stuff, they love trading cards, and you kind of really sucks to love trading cards, but also see them as like monetary pieces. It really sucks. You become greedy. This one's really bad because this one, becoming greedy and seeing people as money is really bad. There was a time when I was not doing anywhere near as well, or like I had things under control like I do now. Every interaction I got on Facebook, Instagram, every interaction I got on eBay, even in person when I would sell in person sometimes, everyone that came up to me, it wasn't really like, oh, hey, how's it going? You know, that would happen, but it would like, it's like, okay, how much is money this person going to spend? I got bills to pay next week. Like I didn't have an emergency fund. I didn't have stuff built up. I didn't have anything. I didn't have that. So everyone that I came interaction with, I just saw them as money just because I needed it. And that was what happens if you leave your job and you don't have all these things set up, and you become really greedy. It's bad. I mean, look at me. You just have to be. If you want to be a businessman, if you want to be something like a big store that holds an inventory, you have to be greedy. You have to like offer people lower prices to buy their items so you can make money out of it. And that's the root of it. It's money is kind of like the root of all evil, but it is a necessary evil. It really sucks. You have to be a greedy person to do this. You can't give everyone a good deal. You can't give everyone a good deal when you sell to them. You can't give everyone a good deal when you buy from them. It's not possible. You just won't make it. You just won't make it. One bad thing happens. It's kind of like the emotional investment thing. One bad thing can fully destroy your day. Doesn't matter what it is. One bad thing can happen. Let's just say someone scratches your car and you got to get it fixed. Someone cracks your headlight and you got to get it fixed. You can't afford to do that because you have to sell inventory to get that. It's just crazy. Yeah, there's one bad thing from collapsing. I wrote that. You become selfish. It's kind of like being greedy. Similar thing. Slowed growth. You don't have that paycheck coming in, and you have to trade your items for. I think I put that here somewhere. You got to trade your items for like, the water bill comes in. You got to sell some cards. Electricity bill comes in. You got to sell some cards. Like it's just you trade all your stuff for like things that usually should be paid by your paycheck. You get a warped mindset of life. That's pretty much the same as stealing people's money, being greedy. You got to learn about business expenses. It becomes kind of crazy. I got bookkeeper. I got a business accountant. I have to lodge reports every 3 months. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to pay for like online accounting software. I got a whole bunch of other shit I got to do. I got so much stuff. I don't know how much my business costs to run without even doing anything, but it's almost like 13,000 a year just for me to run my business. I mean, and probably less for people just starting out, definitely. When I started out, definitely way less. And then you got to pay these bad boys taxes. I mean, that's just a fucking thing to open up that we're not going to talk about because it's just like, when you don't have a job, this becomes your income, right? A lot of people, pretty much 99% of card sellers, I can fully guarantee you don't pay taxes. And the thing is, you got a job, you use a few $1,000s a month, maybe every 6 months here and there. Or look, whatever country you're in, they deal with it in their own ways. But it becomes your only income. This is some serious stuff, this taxes. So you have to take less risks. You can't just, like, I found that a lot. I couldn't just go like someone's like, see, I got this crazy collection, but I want $2,000 for it, because $2,000 was a big deal in 2017, and I had around $2,400, and I was just like, do I give him the 2K and live on 400 when I have like $500 to $1,000 of bills paid the next like 2-3 weeks? It's like, if you got income, you got another 900 coming in next week, another 800 coming in next week. It's rough, and most card businesses get the biggest growth that they have is not from pure hard work. It's not from, all this stuff. It's from getting a lucky deal. And that might sound really bad, but like the person who searches the most does the most. Like, you seen that meme where he's like, the guy's digging and he gives up right at the end, and it's just like, gamblers quit before they win big. It's kind of like that. Every time you buy something, every time you maybe grade something, you just a few more grades every once in a while. You get something big. I got a really big one coming. By the way, is that focusing? There it is. I got a really big grade coming, by the way. So, and that's good because luck is really important when it comes to buying and selling trading cards. And yeah, worst time management, we talked about it before. And BYOB, be your own boss. I don't know why I wrote that, but yeah, you got to be your own boss. If you're not someone that's used to like managing everything yourself, it really sucks. Trust me. So that's pretty much the pros being like 3 things. and the cons being like a lot of things. So let's swap this around to the other side. See if you can read that. There you go. All right. That was all the pros and cons. Shitload. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. I'm actually pretty damn tired. That's some good stuff. I'm pretty damn tired. So I want to do this because I need to do this seriously because I know this question is going to come up again. But I didn't feel like it was appropriate just for like a crappy text response for you. Steps to take to quit your job. That's what I said. Steps to take to quit the job. Whatever. Number 1. You can't have any debt. At least no bad debt. Maybe you have a mortgage, something like that. That's perfectly fine. It's the same as rent, I guess. Whatever. No debts, no shitty personal loans. Definitely don't have any shitty car loans. I swear to God. I had a car loan when I first quit. You know how much that fucking sucks? You know what happens when you work at home? You want me to give you a guess of what happens when you work at home? You don't leave the house that often. So you don't need a car. Or at least not a really expensive car that's on a loan. Okay? Low cost of living. I don't think it's worth quitting your job if you're living in an extremely high cost of living area. Say you live in the middle of New York and you're working some like, 100K, 150K, 200K job, whatever you want to do. And you want to sell cards and you're doing pretty well at it. You can't just stay in New York. You got to move somewhere that's a lower cost of living area because selling cards is global. You don't need to live in like some crazy fancy place. Have existing inventory. I feel like it's pretty obvious. You have to have a decent amount. At least like, you have to have a lot of capital. I think I wrote here 12 months emergency fund, and that's just to cover your bills. Like an emergency fund is a fund that you can access in an emergency. Either it's your own money, it's kind of like a savings account that isn't your savings. It's like emergencies only. So 12 months. So if you spend $2,000 a month, $24,000 in an emergency fund. You don't even touch that for your business. You don't even touch that. That's just for like, in case like something happens in your life, you have to go to the dentist, you have to get surgery, whatever happens, whatever country you're in, everything has different laws. Having existing inventory is like, you just need to know. Obviously, you can't quit your job to sell cards if you don't know how to sell cards. If you know how to sell cards, you'll probably have some inventory. You're going to have a lot. You're going to have enough to like justify quitting, at least to match your old salary. If you have like a lot of cash, a lot of emergency fund money, some good savings, maybe you've already made like a house purchase in life or something like that. You can definitely do this with a lot less if you're a lot younger. Let's say like 20, 21, 22, you're still living at home. If you want to take the plunge, go for it. But be prepared. We're going to get that to the end. Be prepared to, go back to work. 3, low margin / high turnover / repeatable sales. It's no matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be trading cards. It can be literally anything on eBay. But you cannot do this if you don't have stuff that is low margin. Low margin and high turnover are usually the same thing, but low margin, high turnover items, stuff that actually keeps you going and keeps you active, keeps you actually selling, keeps your mindset not from crumbling because you don't sell anything. Even if you're making $5, $10 a card, $5, $10 an item, $5, $10, whatever it is, plushies, a skateboard, whatever. I don't care. You need to have stuff that actually sells. My apologies. You can't just do this on just lucky sales of really high expensive items that are hard to get. Because you need to have repeatable sales. You need to sell stuff that you can easily get back. Make a little bit, but easily get them back. I feel like that's pretty like self-explanatory, right? You want the items to be desirable, and you can't have them flavor of the month. So, imagine Pokemon 151. That's a great example. It just came out in English, just came out in Japanese. All the stores, everyone's making a shitload of money. Not really a shitload because so much competition, but everyone's making a decent amount of money. I won't lie. I've made a little bit of money from the graded versions of 151. I can imagine in 3 to 6 months, the margins are not going to be there. They're going to be completely gone until like another 6 to 12 months afterwards. When everyone stops grading it, people buy it up a little bit, and then suddenly there's less supply. Prices can creep up a little bit. The raw card prices go down. All that other stuff. We talked about that all before in another video, but you can't have like one big month of some flavor of the month thing that comes out, make a lot of money, and then like that's not going to happen next month because the next set's going to be probably crap. It's going to be Rule of the Black Flame, right? It's going to be a shit set. So yeah, hope that makes sense. Number 4, you got to make some goals. 1-year goals, 3-year goals, 5-year goals. I know it's cringe. I know it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. 5 years ago, I was at school. Well, come on. You got to be serious now. If you want to quit the job and do your own stuff, you got to be a big boy. You got to wear your Pokemon shirts proud. So you got to make some goals. It's like, it's hard because You don't know where you're going to be. So you don't know where you're going to be. So 1 year goal, just make something. Let's say, I don't know what kind of goals you can make. Everyone's got different goals. But let's say you want to have a certain amount of items listed at a certain amount of inventory price with having the same amount of savings. So let's say you have $10,000 and you have $50,000 worth of items listed and you have like 1,000 items listed or something like that. Let's say in 1 year's time, you just want to double that. You want to have 2,000 items listed with $100,000 worth of value, and then you want to get like $20,000 in savings. You just want to double everything you have. In 3 years, maybe you want to like 1.5 times it. So you like go up a lot in the short term, but then slowly grow everything while still like actively flipping. Make your own goals. Maybe you want to flesh out your space with like new computers, or you want to buy an Xbox or something. I don't know. You can make goals. You can be whatever you want. They're your goals. They don't have to be other people's goals. Some people's goals is make a family and buy houses and doing this and go on boats and go on trips. And some other people's goals are to buy a super expensive fast car and go as fast as they possibly can in a straight line in like 3.7 seconds. And not talking from experience, trust me. Kim, I'm sorry if you heard that. There's 5-year goals. It's a little bit long, but you just come up with something. You never know. 5 years goes by really fast. Trust me. I quit my job almost 5 years ago now. Didn't expect this to be happening as it is. I never expected me to be standing in front of a camera giving advice on quitting job when I quit my job and failed. Failed successfully after the second time. So, here we go. Number 5, you gotta stay connected. You can't just quit your jobs. Disconnect from everything in life. Disconnect from everything. Don't talk to anyone. Say, employer, screw you. If you are gonna leave your job, resign gracefully. Work the last few weeks. Be in contact. Be in touch. If you do have to go back to that one job, it's a lot easier than going to a new job, I guess. But just make sure you keep an eye on how much some jobs are paying. I still look for jobs. I actually still look for jobs. Almost, every 2 weeks I go online, see what jobs are paying, see what's around. I actually wouldn't mind going back to work eventually, because as much as full-time card selling is awesome, it's a little bit boring. I'm not gonna lie. And it's all set up. Once you have it all set up, you don't have to manage it. So it's sometimes it happens. So you can look for work in the summer, part-time, casual jobs, Christmas jobs here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. If you quit your job, there's nothing wrong with just going work in some crappy job just to get $20 an hour, $15 an hour, $10 an hour. It gets you some free exercise, plus you get paid to do it. It's not the end of the world. And then when you do it, you're probably going to be more motivated to do card stuff when you're like actually there. Because I always found when I was working, my mind was on cards. Like my mind was on cards while I was working nonstop. And then I get home and I do everything I was thinking. When you're on a long drive and you finally get home and you do a whole bunch of stuff that was on your mind on the long drive. When you're just in bed and you have that stuff in your mind, there's no you don't get to manifest it. You're just laying in bed and then you just go back to sleep. It's not that easy. Number 6, all business practices cleaned up. It's a little bit harder to explain, but like I mentioned earlier, when I quit my job the first time, I didn't have my stuff in line. I didn't have my life in line. I didn't have my my business in line. I didn't have it all perfect. I was still doing well, but I didn't have everything perfect. I didn't have a stockpile of shipping supplies, and I didn't have everything written down and all my business made and everything like that. It wasn't perfect. You're gonna get everything in line. Make sure your store is good. Make sure you actually know what you're doing. Make sure this is an actual thing you want to do. Talk through with your family. Talk through with people that you're close to. They know you better than anyone. Another thing you can try to do is take 2 to 4 weeks off in your job if you get holidays. I don't know what kind of jobs you guys have, so it's hard to give advice. Take some holidays, but see what it's like. Try 2 weeks or 1 week time off to spend the whole week dealing with cards. Don't quit. 10 hours a day, 70 hours a week, 7 days. See what it's like, because that is pretty much a reality. And I will tell you, after 14 hours of going through raw cards yesterday and sorting them and putting them into color and condition checking and everything, and your shoulders just killing you, it's not glamorous, that's for sure. Number 7, ask for help. Ask for help before it becomes a problem. Before it becomes a problem. This is one thing I really did struggle with. And, I asked for help pretty much when shit hit the fan. I did not ask for help a little bit beforehand. Even these days, I find myself not asking for help until, mentally I'm exhausted. It's, you got to know when to ask for help. You can't just ask when things are bad. Let's just say you need help, shipping out some items. And can you ask a family or friend, hey, can you take these to X place for me? I'm really busy this day. I need to be here. Or, you need to go to the dentist, but you still need to ship your items or something like that. Have build a support network around the people, but you can't just ask for help. You also have to help the people that are helping you. You know what it's like having family and friends. I can't. But this is just really important because so many people do their businesses. So many people do their stuff. It's you gotta ask for help. It's you can no one can do this alone in the world. I mean, I owe my mom everything. I owe Kimberly everything. There's no way I can do this. All of this. There's no way this is even Pokemon Steve exists without the people in my life. So you got to ask for help, man. They're there to help you, but then you have to help them in advance, obviously. You don't help them because they helped you. You help them because you want to help them, right? And then you got to help some other people because you got helped. So I hope that helps. Help, help, help. This was a really fast video. I wanted to try and get it out of the way because yeah, there was a lot of information. So sorry that I spoke really fast, but I hope this did help. And my name's Steve, always here. If you need to talk about anything, message me on Instagram, etc. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate all the love for the channel, and I hope you have a great day.